I've written a series of poems about my family. They are not brilliant, but I love them because they are actual tales about my great grandfather and his sons, and about all the silly, sometimes stupid things they got up to. There is one story somewhere in one of the poems about what my other great grandfather as well, but still, I'm not sure what's in this one. It's been a long time since I read it. A family tree. Here there follows no rhyme or reason, a family history full of seasoned tales. There really is no form to this, my one compulsion to do my best by Wales. The only binding factors, rhyme, and some stories out of time. I'll tell 3 tales that deal with humour. These really are the facts, not rumour. My old great-grandpa worked in a mine, where everything usually went just fine. But one day a friend of his was walking along under the ground just singing a song when he got a nasty shock. A great big pointed rock fell and pierced his head. Well, his friends just stared and said, "You better go and see the doc. That looks nasty, that old rock. You better go to bed." But how to do it? The doctor wasn't at the mine. He was down at the village drinking vodka and lime. So up stepped my relative. "Don't worry about dear old Bert. I can see he's looking rather hurt. I'll get him down to bed." So he pulled out the great big lump of coal and stuck his finger in the hole that was in the top of Bert's head. And to prove he wasn't just a clown, he walked like that right down to town. The doctor patched him up with plaster, but the poor man looked like alabaster, he was that white. But my grandpa took him to his wife, and that's how he saved another man's life, by acting just right. He was also a bit of a part-time farmer, keeping every kind of beast bar llamas. Well, one day a neighbour said to him, "Why are we both out on a limb? Why don't we get together and buy some swine? We form a partnership between us, and though it's certainly nowhere near as clean as, it's certainly cheaper than investing in some kine." So they made a pact, our man and his neighbour, to half and half divide the labour, and just as equally they made their separate bids. They bought 2 pigs, but had a tiff, and that grew into a big wide rift. So this is what the 2 men went and did. Remember that pact about half and half? Well, this will really make you laugh. The same deal went as they had a row, and my grandpa made his neighbour bow to the wording of the contract. They killed each pig, and each took an end. Then the whole thing really went round the bend as the trough and sty each got cut down the middle. You see, the neighbour had gotten the old man's nerves, so he said, "You got what you deserved," and I made sure I'm not the one to be diddled. This last tale shows him tough but fair, as a good friend's hen house became a rat's lair. Now, my relative was fond of ferret keeping, so when his friend came to him weeping, he said, "I'll get those rats out right quick." So he put his ferret down and it got the lot. The rats that escaped, well, they got shot. But then he started feeling rather sick. You see, they got every single rat all right, but his ferret still stayed out of sight. Well, he gave the hut a mighty blow, and into the shattered wood did go to try and get his beast back in his clutch. So he searched and got his ferret at last. But his friend stood quite stock still, aghast, as he looked at the mess that once had been his hutch. But that's not the end. Don't worry, don't fret. He didn't leave it there, you can bet. The very next day, he went right back and worked and toiled to build that shack where hens could lay their eggs in peace and calm. So you see, he wasn't really bad, just a little teensy-weensy bit mad. And he ended up doing nobody any harm. These pleasant little anecdotes sound to me like musical notes, but I bet by now you've really had your fill of hearing of a man whom most call friend. So I'll bring my story to an end by giving him a name. I think I'll call him Will. Well, 'twas Jack really, but Will fit the bill. So there you have it. I could tell more. Our family history's filled with lore, but you've had a glimpse of my family tree and seen what we've ended up with. Me.